And yeah. So first and foremost, congratulations on completing the project. I have read your reports and they actually look pretty good. In fact, a couple of them are really, really good. So good job. You will be getting, probably within a week or so, you will be getting your evaluation feedback on your report. So they're being now evaluated by different professors. And then once we have the evaluation, we'll be able to go ahead and start selecting the best teams. But before that happens, we still have to do two things. Can anyone remind me what two things we still have to do? Anyone? There are two more tasks that we need to complete before we fully complete the project.
Presentation.
Presentation, very good, Harsh. And what else? Don't tell me you haven't started writing it yet. The reflection paper, right?
Yes.
So the reflection paper, it's both for me and for you, or for the program and for you. The reason we would like you to write that paper is so that you can reflect on your experiences and learn from them. So the learning happens when you think about the experience. Doing definitely helps, but also thinking about it helps even more. And so in the papers, that's easier. I'll just very quickly summarize one more time the content of the paper. In the paper, we expect you to describe several things or to write about several things. One, your experience. You simply will describe in your own words what you've done and how it went for you. Then you reflect on that experience. You tell us what you have learned. So basically you think about it. So you don't just say, okay, we communicated like this and we wrote the paper like this and then we had a conflict or we had a good time. So you actually try to analyze why it happened, what could have been done better. So you basically think about what you learned from that experience. And then the third component is you share your wisdom with the future generation, for example, of global virtual team members or managers. So that's where you can give advice, you can give tips to the members of the global virtual teams so that they can do better. So you can share your lessons or your advice with them. You can, for example, say things like, I believe you should communicate more. And when you communicate, try to have, I don't know, Skype meetings because email is not enough, or whatever else you think would be a good idea. And so these papers can be very short. So you can literally just write a couple of, 1 or 2 pages, or you can write a lot. You can write 20, 30, 40 pages. So whatever you want. I suppose those of you who are older will probably write more. Those who are younger will probably write less. But it's not that important how long it is in terms of the number of pages. It's more important that you go through this process of thinking what you have learned, sharing your knowledge, and then sharing some tips and advice with the future generations. If you do it very well, if you write this paper not just as a little note, but as a formal, full-scale paper, it would actually be a very good addition to your portfolio. So when you will be applying, for example, to private schools, or maybe for stipends, or maybe when you be applying, I don't know, to universities, it would be a nice paper to attach to your application. Not many kids in your age, of your age, have participated in international teams or did a project in international teams. And even fewer of them have actually written a real reflection or research paper. And so you are one of a few who has done it or will have done it. And so it's important to show it to the world because that will differentiate you from all the other applicants. So that will greatly improve your chances of getting that scholarship or getting admitted to that school, or maybe getting some other prize or award. So I recommend that this week you think about what you would like to write in that paper and you just take notes. People who do good presentations or write good papers, they spend a lot of time preparing. And so you literally can carry with you a piece of paper or maybe your smartphone, and every time you have an idea, you just write it down. Okay, I think I want to say this. I think I want to say that. And so as long as you jot down all the ideas that you have, the writing itself will be easy. You just go through those ideas and you just type up. So write a couple of paragraphs on each idea, and that's it. So ideas are more important than writing, as long as you have those ideas. So as long as you prepare well, you should be fine. And so I would like to spend a couple of minutes on paper now before we go and talk about presentations. Can you guys share with me, for example, things that you have learned so far? Like if you had to write this paper now, what would you say there? what would you say your experience was, or what would you say you learned, or what tips would you give to the next generation of X-Culture participants? Anyone? So I see here people who definitely would have something to say. Like, for example, I see Aelita, Advey, Sophia, Harsh, Maxim. So would you guys, Swapnil, Ilya, obviously. So if you had to share today with, let's say somebody is about to participate in X-Culture and they would like your advice on how to do it right, what advice would you give them? What would you say they should do to do it well? Anyone?
Well, first of all, they shouldn't be those kind of people that think, oh, well, this is just something my parents forced me to do. I don't want to do it, but like,
that's a good point. Yes.
I'm just gonna do it however I want.
So what's the better way to do it?
Well, if you're actually planning to do this seriously, you need to be nice to your teammates, do the work good, and it's just better if you don't really even want to do this work, then you can just not participate, like leave at the first time when you understood what this thing is about,
right,
what you're gonna have to do. And if you don't like it, you can leave, and some person that also wants to participate can participate instead of you and do something productive.
Very good. That's a very, very wise advice. Yes, I definitely support that. Very, very good. Yes. Good to see you, Fernando. I see Fernando that just joined us. Any other tips or any other advice you would give to the next generation of participants? Maxim, Sophia, Harsh, Advey, Ilya, Swapnil. I see somebody's comments here. Just let me go to them. Always research. Advey, that's smart. Yeah, you do your research. Don't just say things, do your research. That's very good. I definitely support that. Yes. And it's also a good experience. Not only will you write a better paper, but in life, you will have to do research all the time. So acquiring those skills will definitely help. All right. By the way, in the paper, if you would like to give advice, not to the members of the teams and the managers, but also to the program, to me and the other professors who run the project, if you see ways to improve the project, please let me know. So we will definitely incorporate your advice in the next round. Like, for example, one of the ideas that I have been proposed so far is, before we place students on teams, not only ask them to do the training, but also ask them to write a little paper, so that on the one hand, we see if they can write, and on the other hand, when the time comes to write, they're actually more prepared. And so the argument there for it is clear. We would like only the best and the most prepared people to be in teams. But at the same time, some people say, wouldn't it be too much? We already have 4 weeks of preparation. If we still make them to write papers on top of that, it may be a little too much. But anyway, so if you have any ideas of that kind, so let me know. Maybe you think we should have more webinars, or maybe fewer, or maybe we should communicate with the students differently. So you've been on the other side of the fence, sort of. So, and maybe there are some things that you saw that I didn't see. So if you would share them with us, next semester we will try to incorporate them in the project design. And Advey gives us 2 more tips. One, think before you add a comment, and support your answer with a point. Both are good ones. Advey, would you explain what you mean before, or can you elaborate a little bit more on think before adding a comment? Have you had any problems with some people adding comments without thinking? Seems like you're in a bus, aren't you? Maybe we shouldn't bug you because you probably cannot talk, right? So, yeah, I don't want to, okay, that's fine. Yeah, if you cannot talk, that's perfectly fine. Yes, some people sometimes say random things. Good comment, Advey. Yes, absolutely. All right, so you got the idea. So let's try to maybe put down some thoughts for the paper over this week, and then you'll have a couple more weeks to actually finalize it. And as I said, try to do as good a job as possible, but do not lose your sleep over it. So try your best, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's, as I said, it's a process of reflection. It's not an exam. So whatever you write there is good, as long as you know that you have spent enough time thinking about your experience. Now let's talk about the presentation. So we have decided to do it 2 weeks from now. So we'll talk a little bit about the plan today, and then we'll do a little rehearsal next week. And then after that, we'll have the actual presentations a week after. So you have 2 more weeks to prepare with the presentations. And the reason we would like to allocate enough time for that is because presentations are hard. So you can say a couple of words, obviously, at any time, but we would like your presentation to be strong and impressive and make a good impression on the clients, whichever company you work for. And then maybe we would like to even record them so that you, again, you can add it to your portfolio. So in case you need to show that presentation to somebody in the future, or we can also, if it's a good presentation, maybe we can even use it as an example for the next generation of X-Culture students. If you really do a good job, we can definitely show and say, see, one team did it well, and this is what it might look like. Now try to do even better. And so we would like to spend enough time to prepare that presentation so that when the time comes to present, you do a very, very good job. And so what I suggest we do now is try to present if you had to do it today. So let's see if anyone is brave enough to do a 5-minute presentation and try to summarize the presentation, the report, the ideas in your report, just like that, without any preparation or whatever little preparation you've had. Let's see what happens. On the one hand, I'm curious to see how well you're prepared. And on the other hand, if you do extremely well, maybe we don't even need to spend much time on preparation. On the other hand, if you're not really sure how to go about it, we will have a little bit of time to prepare, and I'll share some tips with you on how to prepare for a presentation. But let's see if we have anyone brave who is willing to do a quick summary of your report. So I can even pull up your report on the screen if you would like to, or you can pull it up from your computer. And let's see if anybody can summarize his or her team's paper in, let's say, 5-7 minutes. So do we have anyone here? Maxim, Sofia, Ayalita, Fernando, Advey, all of you, Ilya, Swapnil?
I think I want to try.
Okay, go ahead, Maxim.
Let me pull up the report.
Yeah, you want to share the screen? Actually, I'm impressed. I didn't think you would volunteer, so that's definitely a point to your karma. Good job. That paintball game, you're like 1% closer to getting a yes on it. All right, go ahead.
I need to find it.
Do you want to come to my computer and I will just put it on the screen?
That's okay, I have it.
All right, nice. Are you on the computer or are you on the phone?
I'm on computer.
All right. All right. And all of you, while Maxim is pulling up his presentation, why don't you guys also think about how you would present your report, and then we'll give whoever else volunteers a minute or two. And so what we'll do, Maxim will do a presentation. We'll see how well it is. Maybe share some feedback with him, how he can present it better. And then do a couple more. And so this will give you an idea of how easy or maybe hard it is to present. And at the same time, what you should focus on to improve your chances of a good presentation in the future.
Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
My name is Maxim Terrace, and my group is Advai Jain, Alexander Ustinsky, Anna, and our group is X-Culture Group 3, and we were doing InnoSpark.
Okay, very good.
So, to sum it all up, InnoSpark did not have many direct competitors, but there were a couple, but they weren't necessarily direct. The strengths were they teach younger kids many skills such as creativity, while keeping education fun and interactive. Their products are made out of very high quality materials that are likely to withstand constant use and potential abuse from children, and all have a very crisp and clean design that looks modern and futuristic. Their only weakness is that their prices are higher than their competitors. We decided that their best markets are USA and Finland because they're both rich countries and they have a pretty good market that's big. And for marketing, we decided we could use media such as direct mail, newsletters, social media, pamphlets, and maybe YouTube videos. We also have some examples of those.
Very good. Can you, so how did you decide exactly to do the marketing? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? So you mentioned the channels. Can you tell us a little bit more how you would like to market the products?
Yes. So.
And maybe can you explain why you chose the methods, the channels of communication with the clients that you chose? Why, for example, direct mail? Why, for example, exhibitions? Can you explain those choices?
So this company isn't being marketed to your average citizen. It's being marketed either to a really rich family or schools and daycares. So we wanted to use promotion channels that the customers would find more serious. So in direct mailing, they could just find all the mailing addresses of the schools in the area and send them some information about their products to the school. And then we also had...
Did you try to do some calculations how much time it would take to find the addresses and how much it will cost to send them emails versus sending them, for example, hard copy letters?
Yeah.
Can you share your screen? I think we lost your screen. It would be interesting to see those numbers.
Okay.
Go ahead, please. Okay. Yep. Nice.
So I wanted to show that it's not too difficult to find the addresses of the daycares. So I took screenshots of Google Maps of daycares in my area. And as you can see, it's really easy to find them, find their addresses, and find their phone numbers. So I did some basic calculations of finding the email address via Google, 1 minute per address, approximately.
Right.
Time sending standard promo email, 10 seconds once the list is compiled. Cost of sending one promo email, 1.1 minutes, about $10 an hour. If they're being paid $10 an hour, it's about 15 cents per message. And if the expected open rate is 5%, and the expected sales is 0.5%, and so to make profit, you'll need to send out 200 messages. And to make profit, you need to make it $30 for sale.
It's actually very good that you did those calculations. That's very smart. I'm not sure how accurate those estimates could be when you're simply guessing, but it definitely gives us some benchmark. That's a very, very smart idea to add those calculations. Very good job, yes.
Oh, that was actually emails, sir.
So that's for the emails, and for the hard copy mail, would it require more money to do the campaign?
No, because, well, it could cost more, but with my calculations, it would probably have a higher open rate and a higher sale rate, so it could be cheaper for hard mail.
That is smart too, you're right. So with mail, people probably will open and at least take a glimpse at it, right? With email, most of this will go into spam. So what is your open rate for the email, estimated open rate? What percentage will actually be read?
For email?
Per email.
For email, about 5%. That's my estimate. Not
0.5%, 0.5%, right?
No, that's sales.
Sales, right. So you expect about 5% of the mail. Okay, very good. And hard copy messages, mail?
Probably, if they get the mail, they're going to open it. So I wrote 80, and sales maybe 4%.
Very interesting. Those are very good calculations. Very nice. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Yeah. Well, that's actually very good. Very good, guys. So if you do a presentation like this, I think with a little polishing, that would actually be pretty good. So it's a good summary of the ideas that you did. It's clear, concise, with some visuals. So that's a very good presentation. Good job. Anyone else would like to try? Oleg, yes. Mr. Leskev, sorry, we don't hear you for some reason. I think the sound is not coming through.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, yes.
Okay, I only have to add that have already evaluated that report. Maxim and Team Anna and Team Adway. I was very impressed. That was very good job, excellent job, and even marketing evaluations and market research. That was very good report.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, actually, we will also ask you to maybe provide some feedback in the end to all the students. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. And I'm also hiring a few other professors, asking them to read your reports and provide also some feedback. So this way you guys will be able to learn. So, yeah. Very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, any other teams or any other students who would like to maybe do the presentation, just so we can get an idea of how prepared you are? Aelita, Sofia, Ilya, Fernando. We have here several different teams, right? Advay is somewhere outside, so I'm not sure if he can speak, but he can listen for sure, right? Yeah. Anyone? Aelita, would you try?
I can't speak, but my voice is not very clear.
Yeah, that's okay. No worries. We see your comments. Yeah. Fernando, Aelita, you guys were on different teams. Would you like to try the summarize your report? By the way, while you are building up the courage to do the presentation, Harsh also gave a very, very good advice. He says, always try to survey different people and ask about their opinion about the product. And most important is communication. Communication is definitely, it's so important that we don't even want to talk about it. Everybody knows it. But the survey, what I was impressed with is that it seems like Advay and Harsh actually did go out and talk to people and did a survey of potential clients. And even though they didn't have very large samples, but they did take time to survey potential clients. And I thought that was a very, very effective addition to their report. Many students don't do it. And not only it does make the report weaker, but also what the problem is that you can have all those interests and ideas, but then until you talk to the potential clients, you would not know if they are actually good ideas, viable ideas. You may have your own opinion as to why the product, for example, would be selling well and what marketing strategy would work, but only when you talk to potential clients, you can realize that they don't care about the things that you think they do, and maybe they care about something else. And maybe the marketing strategy that you thought would be an effective one wouldn't work at all. So this is, it's something that many people are not comfortable doing, and it takes time. But when you do it, it will definitely inform your decisions and will lead to a better final product. So thank you so much, those of you who actually took the time to try to talk to potential clients. Again, I may be missing some of the kids. I just know that, for example, several of them did it. I read the reports, and I remember Advay specifically, did some research, and I think Harsh did it too. So that was very smart and very, very effective. All right. Oh, Gamma is here. Good to see you, Gamma. So anyone else wants to try to present the summary of your report, just to see if you had to do it today? Can you summarize for us? Gemma, would you like to maybe try to give us a summary?
I can't hear you properly.
Oh, you cannot hear me properly?
No.
Can you hear me, everybody else? Is my sound okay?
Yeah.
I can hear you good.
Okay, maybe it was just something on.
Yep.
All right, so then we need at least one more volunteer so we have some comparison. Gemma, I know you did a lot of work with on the team, so would you like to provide a summary of your report? Aelita, you a brave girl. Would you like to try to maybe present the report to us? Don't be shy, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. You have 2 more weeks to polish it. So today we just want to hear a little, just so we have a little benchmark. Anyone? Oh, come on, guys. All right, so well, that's fine. No need. So if you, Sophia, would you like to try? Sophia?
No.
Why don't you come here and we'll do it together, Sophia? Come on, come here. Yeah, all right, so she's not ready either. All right, okay, well, so the important thing is now what you will say, but even more importantly, how you will prepare for the report. For the presentation. You have 2 choices as to the format of the presentation. One, you can appoint one team member who perhaps feels more confident or the team trusts most, and so that one team member can do the presentation on behalf of the whole team. And then you will definitely have questions from the client, so they will probably ask you questions just like I asked here, can you clarify this and can you clarify that, and can you perhaps explain a little bit more about this issue, or did you think about this or that? And so one team member can do the main presentation, 5, maybe 10 minutes. And then everybody else will answer the questions as they come after the presentation. So the plan is to allocate about 10 minutes for the presentation, maybe another 5-10 minutes for the discussion after the presentation. Or you can alternate. So you can decide that, for example, let's say, since you all did different sections, you can say, for example, okay, Aelita will do a general introduction and we'll talk about the company and the product. And then, for example, Fernando will talk about the market analysis and will explain why we chose the country we chose and talk a little bit about the culture and economy of the country. And then maybe Sophia or Maxim will do the marketing presentation because this is what they wrote. And so this way, it will also be nice for their client to see all 3 or 4 of you or whatever the number of team members you have. And at the same time, you each will have to prepare a smaller portion and then we'll do hopefully better. And so this way, whichever section you wrote, that's what you focus on in your presentation. And so what you would like to do probably this week, do a little discussion and decide who does what. So you can, for example, decide that, okay, Harsh will do the entire presentation, or Gemma will present the entire paper. Or you can agree that, okay, guys, remember in the report chart, in the team charter and in the report, we each wrote a different section. So maybe each of us will prepare that specific section. And we just know that we will have about 3-4 minutes per section to present. So just rehearse your section and then we'll go in a sequence and everybody will say their part. The only risk with splitting the presentation among all the team members is that what if one of them will not be able to attend, or one of them will, the technical difficulties, the sound or video will not be coming through. So you want to be prepared that if somebody is not able to talk, then somebody else takes over and does a presentation of that section on his or her behalf. Likewise, if you want to go with one team member presenting the entire thing, the risk is, what if that team member doesn't show up on that day? I mean, what happens then? Do you have a backup plan? If that person is the only person prepared to present, will somebody else be able to step in and do the presentation instead? So think about those choices. And second, once you have an idea of who does what, try to do a few presentations at home in front of a mirror, or maybe on the computer screen as if you are in a session, maybe even record it, show to friends and get some feedback. And so next weekend, we will have a quick session and we will do a rehearsal. So everybody will be asked to do the presentation as if it's a real presentation. There will be no clients, but I will try to invite a few other professors and a few other coaches, and we will do the presentations to them as if they are clients. It will be okay to make mistakes. It will be okay to not do a perfect job. It will be your chance to try and get feedback. And then after next weekend, you will have one more week to rehearse and practice it, so that when the time comes to actually do the real final presentation, you are fully prepared. And so, yeah, spend, a little communication on the email, deciding who does what, and then maybe doing some practice at home. We will do a rehearsal next weekend, just like we did today, but everybody will have to present. So every team will have to present. And we'll only go with the teams of the younger kids. So those of you who were on teams with college students and worked on other companies, they will not have to do the presentation live. They only record the presentations. So they will not do the rehearsal. And then, yes, 2 weeks from now, we will have the actual final presentations to real clients. And hopefully you will be then prepared fully and we'll do a great job. Questions? Ayalita says shivers. Okay, all right. So has it gotten cold in Ukraine, or are you shivering out of anxiety? So, but anyway, any questions, any comments on presentations?
Yep, I have a question.
Yes.
It's not about presentation, but it's about reports, final report. I found some mistake in Dropbox, on Dropbox site, on the page with final reports. I think I can share the screen. And
yes, please, yes, yeah. So if there is an error, we definitely want to fix it.
Do you see my screen?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where is the page final reports, and where is the report of team one? Team one is, and we press.
Oh, that's their own one, right. Oh.
Team 806.
Yeah. So that's true. What was team one? Let me check quickly so I can.
It's team with my students. Mark Hazan, Tatiana Podlipska, team's coordinator.
Do you have a copy of that report? Can you email it?
Yes. Tatiana sent me today.
So if you please send it to me, I will replace it right away. And
I'm not sure exactly this is final version of the reports, but I will check it.
Yeah. 806. So if you check your report, refresh the page one more time, you will see that I have updated the number. And so now there is no report one. Report 1 shows up as the proper 806, or the one that was labeled as 1 now shows up as 806. So we are all fine there. 22. Yeah, and so yes, please do send me that report with the correct page. Now,
Okay.
So I'm not sure how we made the mistake, but yeah, thank you so much for spotting it. Yes, that's good.
Okay, stop share.
Yeah, nice. All right, well then have fun preparing for the rehearsal next weekend. Nothing to be anxious about. What's beautiful about this project is that as they say, the cost of an error is very low. Even let's think about what's the worst that can happen when you do a public presentation in this report. So big deal, you don't do well. Everybody will not clap in the end, and you will just go home. The worst case scenario, you don't do well and you gain experience, and that's already good. So even if that's the only thing that happens, you will already be stronger, you will be better, you will be wiser, even if you fail. And so, and as I said, there is really nothing you will lose. I mean, so big deal. Even if somebody laughs, I don't think that will happen. But even if it did, it's not something that will affect you, big deal. You will just go buy an ice cream and forget about it. But at the same time, I'm sure you all will do at least okay, and probably most of you will do fine and great. And so, as I said, there is really nothing to be afraid of. Public speaking, that's something you will have to do always in your life. If you will be a manager, if you will be a teacher, if you will be an employee, you will always have to present your work to others to convince them that you have a good idea. And yes, practice, practice, practice. It is something that people are not born with. People have to train and practice to do public speaking, and that's your opportunity. All right. Okay. Well, one more thing before we go home, Italy. So I know that some of you are planning to go, and so do we have anyone here who's planning?
You are my only friends. You have me.
And anyone is planning to go to Italy?
I would be good. Me?
Yeah, Harsh. Okay, if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to contact me if you would like to Skype me about that, or if you would like to send me an email. I think it's pretty straightforward. As I said, we're preparing a separate program for kids as well. So you'll attend all of the events that the bigger students attend, older students, but also you'll have a bunch of things specifically designed for you. And yeah, it would be very nice to see you. And maybe we'll even do a second round of presentations. The client companies promised to be there as well. So Finnish Schools International, Mr. Alechin Berisha, and then InnoSpark, Aiste Arbakuite. So they both said that they would be attending the meeting. So maybe you'll even get to meet them, face to face in person. Yeah.
I had a question.
Yes.
So for the payment, so is there any way that the companies can sponsor the ticket?
Yes, I'm actually working on that, and I do believe, I don't believe, I hope that we will be able to raise some funds to sponsor at least some of you with a scholarship. Again, at this time, no promises, but let's see how it goes. I know, for example, my university is sponsoring the students that are going from my university so we have 6 students from the University of North Carolina here in Greensboro. So there will be 6 students, and I know that my business school will be giving them stipends from the school, not from Exculture, but from the university. So, but at the same time, we're trying to raise some funds specifically for the kids, and I'm pretty hopeful that we will be able to find something. So no promises at this time, but I'm trying to do that. At this time, please assume that you have to come on your own expense, but let's see how it goes. I will not be surprised if we will be able to raise some funds. All right, so I guess that's all, and so I'll see you next weekend with your hopefully prepared presentations, and we'll do some more about that. And Oleg, I wanted to talk to you about Italy separately, so maybe I'll call you on Skype or on Zoom in a few minutes. Would you be available?
Yep. Okay.
Zoom, Skype, or
Skype.
All right, let's connect on Skype then. Okay. Yes, Gemma, you have a question? Please go ahead.
When should we show the presentation? On 17th?
Yes, the plan is to do the same time as today, same hour, 9 a.m. my time, and it's like 4 p.m. your time. And it will be on the 17th. So it will be next weekend we do the rehearsal, and then the weekend after we do the actual presentations. And so that's at this time, that's the plan, at least for the Finnish Schools International. So we have that confirmed. With InnoSpark, one of the problems there is they are in Northern Europe. And as you know, in Northern Europe, they take work-life balance, as we call it, very seriously. And so they don't want to do it on a weekend because they take weekends very, very seriously. So weekends are for relaxation. And so they asked if it's possible to do it during the business week. And I just sent an email saying that it's hard because you go to school, guys. And so whatever time we choose, some of you will be in school at that time. And so we will see if they will be available on the weekend. I think they will be, but if not, maybe we'll do a recorded presentation for them or do something else. So we'll definitely do presentations no matter what. We're just trying to decide on the exact time for InnoSpark. But for now, the plan is that it will be Saturday, 9 a.m. 2 weeks from now, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's like 5 p.m. in Kyiv, 4 p.m. in Hungary and the UK, and whatever the time zones. I may be transferring them a little bit wrong, but yes, basically your afternoon. And then if you're in India, that's like late evening. So whatever time it is, but the usual time, usual place. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for participating. Thank you especially to Advey, who had to walk and talk, and Ilya, I think you're outside. Thank you so much for still sticking with us. So I see that you guys are on bus or train or something. That's cool. So I'll see you next weekend. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.